Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Just Open It, the YouTube series in which I open recently acquired toys. My name is Russ. Thank you very much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you're a fellow action figure collector or a fan of pop culture in general, please consider subscribing to my channel, Karaoke Fanboy TV. For the next several weeks, I will be opening a Masters of the Universe toy exclusively to celebrate the upcoming release of the Masters of the Universe feature film coming out in June. And today I am opening Blast Attack. This figure came out last year through MattelCreations.com, which has kind of become an adult collector's site. Masters of the Universe Classics was a line of action figures that preceded Masters of the Universe Origins earlier in the 2000s, and there was a website called MattyCollector.com, and that was exclusively for grown-up fans like me to order higher-end action figures. Masters of the Universe Origins started at retail, and some versions of it continue, but these core characters, like Blast Attack, that I remember having when I was a kid, and I still have him, in fact. He is a childhood survivor, I've recently heard as a term for toys that I continue to have, I still have from when I was a kid. Characters like Blast Attack are now exclusive to this online website, Mattel Creations. And I ordered them, and I got them. So, here is the incredible package art on the back, basically, and then you see this character here, Roton, and Twistoid, and then that's a Snake Man figure whose name I'm not sure. I don't think that's Rattler. I think that's somebody else, and then King Hiss. So you have all of these later wave Masters of the Universe characters that are finally coming to fruition here in this Origins line. So excited to get into this guy and see if he blasts apart. As I remember, he's a human bomb, basically. You would think this is like a one-and-done character where he exists for one singular purpose, kind of a kamikaze mission, and it's over. And just look at how funky his face is. When you see his expression on the back, I don't know if that translates well into 3D plastic here. That's really funky, but that kind of grotesqueness is one of the things we like about Masters of the Universe sometimes. Because this was an online exclusive, it has this very easy to open packaging. That art can be preserved if I wanted it to be. I don't think I do, because I'm just opening it. That's the whole point. Is to get these figures out of their packaging and on my shelf. So, let's do it. This cool axe is exactly the accessory that Blast Attack came with. Originally, in the mid-'80s, when this character came out the first time, in the first versions of Masters of the classic versions of Masters of the Universe. I guess classic's not even the best word to use, because there are Masters of the Universe Classics, which is that line I mentioned at the beginning. So I guess vintage is the better way to go. Relatively easy to extract, thank goodness, because I so hate those little plastic bands. And right away, I'm just noticing that he's a solid figure, awesome points of articulation, modernizing that stout 5.5-inch build of the original heroes, the original villains that Mattel put out. You have kind of you have some joints here, the things that the original He-Man figures could never do. Bend the knees, bend the elbows, twist the wrists, and then these figures are all interchangeable if you didn't know. You could kind of mix and match parts to create your own original characters. But here's where this character should shine. He looks really funky right there too. He's just got a weird face. Paradigm of Power? Okay, maybe some kid is learning that word paradigm for the first time. And what is that little logo in the corner? Hold on, this is new to me. I don't know if that is a publishing house or an imprint. Is that a mini comics publisher? What is that? Interesting. I will read this and see if there are any clues to what that might mean. Because I don't know if that's kind of a soft credit to the folks that are making these mini comics or what. So, okay. This is not a mini comics review, however. It is a action figure unboxing. So, the original Blast Attack came with this thing, and its only purpose is to blast him apart. So, this little insert is giving me instructions to do that. So, you have this trigger, you insert this into a slot in his back, you press this button, and it will blow him apart. And then he should be able to snap together pretty easily. So let's just do this. I am excited about this. Because frankly, you don't get a lot of action features like this in toys anymore, because they know old school fans, adult fans, are buying these, and there isn't a lot of playability to them anymore. In other words, we're just posing them and putting them on our shelves. It's not like we're battling our figures and like clashing with them and making them talk and we're telling stories and stuff like that. We don't play with the toys, we just display them. So action features like this are hard to come by nowadays, and the best example of that is McFarlane Toys Superpowers. The Superpowers line, which are DC superheroes like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. When I was a kid, those figures, you'd like squeeze their legs and their fists would pump. Or with Wonder Woman, you'd squeeze her legs and her bracelets would come together to block bullets. With the Flash, you'd actually, I think, squeeze his arms and his legs would run. So, you know, when McFarlane Toys got the DC license and decided to revisit Superpowers and release new Superpowers action figures, there were no superpowers. These were just standard kind of 5 point of articulation, well, 7 points because of the knees, 7 points of articulation figures. And there was no playability to them because McFarlane Toys knew that these are for grown-ups. And we're not going to sit here and squeeze the legs and make Superman punch, you know, Brainiac, who had this kind of body slamming action when you squeezed his legs and so on. Anyway, that's what makes this even more exciting to me. So here we go. There's the slot. Insert. Standing him up. And 3, 2, 1. He did it. Oh my goodness, how cool is that? And then, just like the original figure, he should be a cinch to snap back together. Holy cow. Let's do that one more time. Fire in the hole, folks. Oh, that is so cool. That's so cool. And I don't know if that's the only time I'll ever do that with this figure. Probably not. But the bright gold of his kind of boilerplate chest, and then the matte gray, the kind of the subdued green. I mean, the color scheme here is so great, and I'm extremely happy to have Blast Attack as a part of my modern Masters of the Universe collection. I hate to say it, but this figure is the bomb. Ugh. Hopefully I'm not the only guy that's said that in a review online. But if I am, you're welcome. If you enjoyed this commentary in any way, please follow me on Instagram at AmazingAZComics. I post more about the toys and comics and toys that I love. Not to mention the comics and zines that I make. I self-publish mini comics about crazy, colorful superheroes and villains, in part inspired by my love of these wacky guys from my childhood. Again, that's on Instagram at AmazingAZComics. If you follow me there, it's free, obviously, and I'd really appreciate your support. Until next time, when I grab another unopened Masters of the Universe toy from the pile here in my living room and I tell myself, you know what? Just blow that package apart. I'll catch you next time.